up when I turn my music off. All right, I see the links just hit for YouTube. And also, if you could, somebody could post the link to the actual, well, the YouTube's there and the actual Facebook page for the region, so everybody can request that to join that as well. All right, so today we're going smart plans.
David, sorry. I mean, instead of those links on the face group, do we have that recording some like some of the other trainings somehow? I saw that in like KW Connect or my KW.KW Connect, or no, just in the Facebook.
I am putting these recordings are going in the Facebook group, and I do load them to KW Connect. If you follow me on KW Connect, I'm loading them there too. I wasn't going to, but I am.
Thank you.
All right, so today, smart plans, intentional, purposeful, contribution, communication. And that's a mouthful, but how we communicate, how regularly we communicate, and we start to really look at command as a tool, right? I said on day one, that I don't like the word technology. I actually don't even like that technology is in my description of my role, right? We're trainers, we're even more than that, we're coaches, right? We're showing you how to utilize something in your toolbox. Command, the platform itself, is a tool. It's leverage for your life, right? It's leverage for your business. So how you utilize it, it's going to make your life easier. Smart plans are one of those things that to a degree you can set and forget. However, you shouldn't be ignorant to what's going out, right? We had used platforms in the past, and some of you have too, where you'll set up notifications that go out. And those notifications may be flyers or alerts, recipes, cookie recipes, time of year, change your gutter, clean your gutters, right? Power wash outside of your house, rotate your screens. There's some value to some of that, but I will tell you, a lot of people unsubscribe from those things because they're getting them from a lot of people. So when you're sending things out, you got to know what you're sending and who you're sending them to and why. So smart plans allows you a little bit more control over the script, over the message that you're sending out. Is there some of that going to be tied into that to a degree? Sure. People like those things. You guys, agents, I'll tell you that a lot of the people will unsubscribe. So the things that we're providing for you to send out, when you hear about terms like monthly neighborhood nurture, or birthday smart plans, or home anniversary smart plans, or your follow-up, that's coming from contribution. Coming from contribution is what's going to set you apart. Years and years of marketing says brand awareness is important, and it is. That's what a lot of those previous things were. It's just getting the message out so that people know who Nancy is, who Bob is, who Patricia is, and your face and your picture is there. But over time, they start to tune that message out. So you have to adjust what that message is and how it's coming across, right? You have to come from value. All right, so when we talk about value, we talk about smart plans. There's a couple things we want to talk about in smart plans. One, I want to make sure that your marketing profile, we talked about having two profiles inside Command. One's referral-based, agent to agent, and one is your marketing profile that your consumers see. And a lot of that, we talked about day one, was writing a bio. Show of hands, who went and wrote a bio after we talked about it on day one, or who had a bio in place already? Don't be afraid. Bios are important, right? We have to tell a message to the public who we are. Here's something interesting about real estate. Do we all know somebody that's been successful in real estate, somebody that we hope to be someday, as far as not personality-wise, but maybe in measure of units and production? Do you realize that they all started at the same place, and that was zero? 0 units, 0 volume, right? And then they are where they are now. That's you guys. So it's mindset. There's a shift in how you think about building your business. Repetition and key. There's some successes in what they've done. It comes from books, comes from coaching, it comes from training, but it comes through, right? The red book, systems and models about how you're going to get there. So don't think in your bio that because you can't overly talk about yet, just maybe some of you, because you don't have a history in real estate, bios are a connection. It's emotional response. It's telling you who you are, right? What do you do? What do you like? What are your hobbies? What are your habits? Where do you work? Where do you come from? Where'd you go to school? Those are all important. So don't be afraid to share that in your bio. And when you do production, the production will come, and then you can tout your successes as your local area experts too. So be comfortable and own that, because that's the great equalizer, is that everybody started in the same spot. That's fair, right? I don't know if you guys think about it that way.
David, I
Nancy,
have a question. Yeah,
go ahead.
because I'm so new, I did do a bio. It's not super long. Is there a protocol to how long it should be?
No, not at all. So what we break down, we look. I tell people, look at this one. Do you have a resume, Nancy?
Yes.
Start there, right? Start start with your resume and turn that into maybe 2, 3, 4 paragraphs about yourself, right?
Okay.
That's what I call long form, okay? Because that may be for a website page or something like that. And then when you're writing that out, that first paragraph should summarize everything else I'm going to read, because you may be limited on character counts to only put like 4 to 6 sentences somewhere online about yourself.
Right.
And then the third version of that bio is what we use for apps sometimes, is taking that first paragraph and turning that into like 160 characters that summarizes you as like realtor, chef, dad, hockey, golf, something like that, right? That summarizes me in 5 words. So if you I always tell people to work backwards from the long form, because I think it's easier to take that long form, clean up the first paragraph, take that first paragraph, and then identify those bullets that you might be and put them on an app somewhere, because you're restricted in characters.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to the marketing profile here in a sec. Command email, making sure that your reply email is set up. And then we're going to talk a little about Twilio, setting up that SMS. So I'm going to jump into command here, bring up my dashboard. On the upper right-hand side, everybody see my screen okay? Thumbs up. Awesome. All right, so the upper right-hand side, remember this first profile is what? Who remembers what this first profile is? Anybody? The referral profile. It's not your marketing profile. This is your agent to agent profile, okay? Your marketing profile is under settings. Then you come in under command settings. I'm sorry, under connect settings. There's a marketing profile. I know it's hidden away a little bit, but I don't get to control where things are displayed. And you're going to land on this marketing profile page, okay? You can go through here and fill out this information all about yourself. Brokerage, headshots. You'll see that there are things that are required in there. First name, last name. Right, I'm on my demo page. That's why this isn't filled out. Market Center logo. You got to have your Market Center DBA, right? So if you don't have those, you can get them through KW Connect resources, or you can ask your leadership forum. Your Market Center tech trainer can point you in the right direction. If you're on a team logo, I highly recommend, look, I'm not a fan of headshots overall. I don't have them on my business card. That's not me. But I do have my likeness online. And I do try to have a most recent headshot. I know there's some sensitivity about that. I used to work with somebody back in the day when I was new, and they were a little older than me, and they were still using their high school headshot. I don't judge. I'm just saying, make sure the likeness of you, if you're using a picture, is somewhat recent. Just best practices. All right. So fill out this profile. Now, I'm not seeing it here, which is interesting. You should see a Kelly guide. Kelly guide asks you a couple additional things. The step-by-step filling out of your profile. I recommend the first time you do that is walk through the Kelly guide, which should be up here in the upper right. And maybe I'm just not seeing it because I'm in my demo account. Once you fill all of that out, I want you to turn this button on to green. Use this information to brand my agent site. This will carry.
Can you go back? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to this Market Center profile
Sure.
place you
Settings under your name.
Right.
Settings.
Uh-huh.
Connect settings on the left. Marketing profile.
So
You get
under
it?
it's connect settings, not command settings. Marketing
Connect
profile.
settings, yeah.
I got profile. Got it. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. All right, so then fill all this out. So after today's class, go back and give it all the information that you've got, okay? That's important. The other 2 things that I want to touch on for SmartPlans configuration is under settings, that I just clicked here. Come back to your main settings page. And at the bottom, you've got your command email. You all get 5,000 emails free from KW. okay? Your reply to email, okay, should be whatever email you're using in your business. And remember, we talked about varying emails, your free mail, your KW email, and your business email, right? At a minimum, you're using your KW email here because you're all business owners. If you have a custom vanity domain email, then you can use that too, or either one. And when they reply to these automatic emails that go out, the reply to will go to whatever email you tell it here. If you think you're going to use, or you see that you're going to use more than 5,000 emails a month, you can increase the subscription. So that has to happen. Secondly, part of our email communications, right? It's phone calls, emails, and text. Okay, when we talk about text, we're not talking about from your phone number, okay? In order for KW to track the text that you actually send at this particular point, you have to have a Twilio subscription. Okay, so you'll subscribe to Twilio in the marketplace. It is a third-party platform. Okay, it's not free to use. Okay, but it's incredibly cheap. So you would actually go in here, you would create an account. Okay, you'll choose a local number, 703-571, right? Depending on where you are, 202. And if there's one available, 703 is in its highest demand, so you might have to go to 571 or 202, depending on where you're at, to choose a local number. Now, once you set that up, you're going to have to select a package. The cheapest package is $3 a month for 300 SMS text messages. It defines in there what those text messages are, right? SMS is your standard text. MMS is a multimedia text, which means I'm sending a link or an emoji or a video. And the larger text, if I go larger than 160 characters in a text, to the point, essentially I'm texting what I would call an email, right? From texts are supposed to be short, but some of you get really long-winded on those. You're going to get a second credit charge to that.
I'm sorry, is this also for calls or just texts?
This is just text.
Okay.
Now, a second component to that is,
David, sorry, one question.
yeah,
For that,
guys,
for that, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. For that 202 or 703, like you said, I mean, we should be select our phone number, our cell phone number. Am
no,
I right?
you're not going to get your cell phone number.
And then how come we're gonna get text message on our cell phone?
You're not going to get text messages on your cell phone.
Okay,
This
we
is
should be.
strictly from command, so that command can track your text messages.
Oh, got
right.
it. From the command, we have access after that from the command to send back and forth the text. Got it.
Inside of command, not from your
Yes,
phone.
not from the phone. Yes.
Now, remember on the first day of the class, we talked about accessing command through, putting a hot link on your homepage in your phone and logging in the command. You can log in your account and then text from your phone that way. Now, as this relationship continues to evolve, we may see additional features. We may see we will see command mobile, just isn't there right now. This is how it's configured right now. We'll get into a little bit more about consumer later, but in this case, just kind of take these steps. You can talk to your market center tech center in more detail about these particular things. You can also set up what's called call forwarding. So because you're using a third-party text, sometimes somebody might try to call you on that number. And if they do, you can set up a forward. So that number will forward and call you on your cell phone. So that's the call forwarding version of it. There's a small fee. They'll use some credits to make that connection for you, and just kind of like the minutes, we'll charge a couple credits. I don't want to get into too much detail. That's all under submit your marketplace. So go in there, check it all out. It's laid out really, really neat. I just want to let you know it is important for you to have that connection in place.
So a recap real quick. So you said this Twilio account is used to send SMS messages to customers in my database.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, Twilio is only texting back and forth through command. That is correct. All right, so those are the settings that I wanted to go into. Let's come back to the home page. And on the left-hand side, we're going to go to SmartPlans. So inside of SmartPlans, this is your SmartPlans screen. So KW has built a SmartPlans library where they provide 10 different smart plans that are created by KW. And there's something really, really cool that has happened over the last couple of months, is that agents themselves, this is what I love about our company, is our community sharing, right? So agents can actually create a smart plan that they like and love and share it with the entire ecosystem, right? You've seen Marty Miller or Nick Baldwin or George Kent, all kinds of agents creating systems and sharing them with you. You had the ability to go out and see those. I'm going to show you that. Copy those and then bring them in to your smart plan, what are called my smart plans, because you're making a copy of them and you're bringing in that you can modify and edit and use in your business. So in order to get there, okay, you go to smart plans. Now on my list, I have things here. You won't have anything here if you haven't brought anything in yet. At the top, you'll have some messages. So if you haven't done these things, you've got to have your marketing profile, which we just talked about, and you got to have a Twilio subscription. So you may see these alerts if you haven't made these configurations yet. Smart plans at the top. You click on my smart plans, that's your list. Library is where the KW versions of them are, the master templates are that you copy and replicate and bring in for you to use, whether they're KW driven or agent created. So we're going to go into the library, click, and right across this screen, across the top, you're going to see the KW smart plans. Right, I'm just going to click on see all here. There are 10. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 default KWRI smart plans. Okay. And the cool thing is when you kind of look through these, they tell you what they are and they're rated. Agents will rate them. Okay. And it tells you who the author is. These are KW created. And at the bottom, you have this view step. So you can actually go in there, look at the smart plan, and it's going to tell you what's going to happen during this event. And this particular one is what we call the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. I'm going to outline a couple of these. I won't be able to outline all of them in detail. So I want you guys to go back and take a look at these and decide which ones you want to bring in your business. I'll spotlight a couple of these, okay? Bi-weekly neighborhood is one that I want you to bring into your business. It's going to send out a month, what we call a monthly bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, which is an update about a community or a neighborhood. It's going to wait 14 days and then send it out again. So what this means is if you have a consumer, and maybe they live in Pemmon Hills, which is a neighborhood in Virginia, or Sleepy Hollow, which is a neighborhood, right? I could set it up that they receive emails from me with a list of properties and activity that's going on in those particular neighborhoods. Don't confuse this with a search, right? You're not going to go in and customize by listings or details or single family homes or price points. This is everything that's going on in a particular neighborhood that somebody might find of value because that's where they live. Okay. Here's the cool thing about this. You'll look at this. Remember yesterday when we attached the address and automatically pinned into a neighborhood? This is what would be sent. You're going to see that live in a little bit. But that was the first step. This is the second step. First step was connecting that address to the map. The second step was connecting the smart plan to the contact record. So you're going to want to download this. So then you would click Add Smart Plan. Right? That would make a copy of it and bring it into your database. So we just kind of walk through a couple others and tell you what else is in here. So there's a quarterly call plan, which I think you all should have, right? That means you're calling people through your database once a month. The great thing about the quarterly call plan, and you'll see when you click Add Smart Plan, it has the word My in front of it. It just means you're making a copy, right? Because it has to differentiate between the KW version and your version. You can call it whatever you want when you're making a copy. So you're going to download that, which means it is now in your Smart Plans library. I'm just going to download those two. There's other ones in here that you should look at. Birthdays. Birthdays important. So what happens in these birthday plan? And the cool thing is when you hover over some of these, it tells you exactly what's going to happen, right? So in a touch, it's telling you to send a handwritten note to whoever's birthday is upcoming, okay? Then you're going to wait. So this triggers 4 days out from somebody's birthday. So if you have their birthday on their contact record and you add them to the smart plan, 4 days before their birthday, you're going to have a task notification that you should be sending this person a birthday card. All right. Doris, this kind of follows up on what we talked about, right? Getting those birthdays is important. Then, right, for their birthday, you should call them because even grandmom's not calling them anymore. It'd be great if they heard from their realtor. Then wait a day And then you might put a social post up saying happy birthday. Now, do you have to do all these things? Do you think that's a little bit much? I don't know. Not for me to tell you, but this is something that's built into the platform for you to utilize. Then you click add smart plan and it brings it in. The cool thing is that when you hover over these, you see like it says call and then contact first name. It's got a merge field. So when you use these merge links, and I'll show you those, it will actually pull in their name so you know who you're calling, or if it's an email, it'll automatically merge their name into the message of that contact, of that email. So it's making your life a little bit easier. All right. Now, the other thing under these libraries, which is really, really cool, is that I can search by smart plan by name or by author. Remember, or I can search by description, like a keyword search. Maybe I want to find things that have to do with open houses. Right? Then there's an open house follow-up. I can filter. I can look at, hey, just show me ones that are 5-star rated. I can search by author. Right? Author means other agents. So I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to come back out here. I'm actually going to search by, I'm clicking too fast. If I search by, come on. Let's just scroll down to the bottom here. Oh, looks like they're working on some things because I see some French. Oh, it's because I'm in my demo account. That's why I'm having some issues, I think. If I search by author, and I know that Marty has some stuff live in here. I'll see Smart Plans published by Marty Miller. Or if I search by Nick Baldwin, I'll see Nick's. If I search by George Kelly, I'll see George Kelly. Now, Chris Upham has some things in here. Search by Chris Upham. So you can search by author, or you can search by topic, right? So I also, if I change this back to Smart Plan name, and I search for maybe Facebook, because that's a big topic. A lot of people have Facebook follow-ups. Probably see all kinds of things around Facebook. How do I follow up with Facebook? Facebook ad follow-up campaign by Chris Upham, which Chris, I know, kind of modified his, and he tells us right in here that he took Nick's and he modified it a little bit, right? Here's some ones by Taylor. Taylor's another RTT like myself. And you just literally check through some of these, right? And say, hey, if I look at hover over Derek's, what steps are in Derek's plan? He's going to add them to a smart plan. So part of the step could be adding them to another smart plan, right? Here's this text message that goes out. So I do implore you to look at the details, make sure this is what you want, right? Let me just pause here and let's see what questions we have around this particular page. Before we go back, I want to make sure you guys understand here everything that's available to you. You're looking at KW Smart Plans. You're looking at smart plans that are created by other agents. You can search by topic. You can search by author, right? And you can copy those and bring them into your database or into your smart plans library. How do you guys feel about that?
For someone who is new, there are 1 billion of these things, and it's a little bit of analysis process. Do you have some basic ones that you recommend just starting on? I mean, maybe
that's kind of where I'd go back. You always start with the KW ones, right? And then Facebook is important follow-up. So then if there's people that you recognize, and that's why I say like Nick or Marty or George or Taylor, if you don't know the agents, right, then look at, and you're intrigued by their title or their description, look at that in a little bit more detail. That's where the filter up here comes into play as you're searching for maybe open house follow-up or post-closing plans, right? Listings, buyers, different keywords that you may be intrigued by, and then kind of drill down from there. Yeah, there is a lot. So that's why I say, look at the top rated. So you can look at the filters and be nice when you copy these and implement them in your business, rate them, right? The Nicks and the Martys and the George in the world, they went really out of their way to create some of these for you. Give them credit, vote them up, right? Provide the right feedback to it. And if you find that one is terrible, be kind, be honest, but be kind. Right? Sometimes people, what you find sometimes there might be some test accounts, right? Maybe there's a lot downloaded, but there's not a lot to it. Somebody might have been playing around and trying some things. So just remember our words hurt, right? So be careful, be honest, but be careful. So I know that's a roundabout answer for you there, Samantha, but we all start to understand who are the KW personalities, right, that create things and share things. So that's always a great place to start. If you're not sure, talk to your PC coach, your MC tech trainer. They can put you in the right direction. And when all else fails, you can search by a topic. But pretty easy, right? Go to the library, find something that's of interest. Start with the KW ones, right? Which is always where I think you should start, because there's 10 there. I like the biweekly neighborhood nurture, the monthly neighborhood nurture. I like the birthday smart plan. There's an open house follow-up that I like. I think it's good. And that's where I would start. I would start with the KW ones. All right, so now that we grabbed a couple of these, I'm going to go back into my smart plans, because now that's where they're going to be, because I created my copy of these.
Can we look at the one for the paid ad real quick, if you don't mind?
There's not a KW paid ad. There might be a paid ad that was provided by another agent. That's typically around Facebook, if I had to guess. Facebook paid ad follow-up. So you can just search by there and look at the different steps. You see there's a lot of different ones because a lot of different people are providing things. So it just matters logging into your database, search by that topic, hover through the different ones. And like I said, they're literally scripting these things out for you. But when you bring them in, we're going to look at here in a minute, you should modify them to reflect who you are, because the verbiage or the words that they use might not sound like it's from you. So you're going to tweak it a little bit. Did that help?
Yes, thank you.
You got it. So, all right, so we're going to go back to my smart plans, and you'll see that the most recent two that I added are now here at the top, right? And again, I'll see the drop down. It tells me what they are, right? Next to that, I see contacts. How many contacts do I have on this? Well, I haven't added anybody to it yet. So there's a couple places where you can add contacts to a smart plan. First, though, I want you to go in, and you might need to modify any of these, right? Depending on what they are. So this is a edit for my biweekly neighborhood nurture. So it tells you exactly what it is, right? And this one, actually, there really isn't an editable option to this. Sorry. I should grab one that has, I'm going to bounce back to the library real quick. I'm going to grab a Facebook one just so I have one that I can edit. Live training is always tricky sometimes. I'm just going to go ahead and grab, see what Taylor's got in here. All right. Add smart plan. All right, smart plans. So there's an editing pencil over here on the right. There's an add contact, which means I can add somebody to the smart plan. I can edit the smart plan. Sometimes only certain elements of the smart plan are editable. And then on the three dots, I can copy. So maybe I want to make a copy of it. And maybe I have one that's really good that I'm using for buyers, but I want to modify it slightly for listings. Make a copy of it, rename it, and edit it, right? Then is that published to library? Because these are now yours. If you've edited to a degree or created one, we haven't talked about creating from scratch, but we will. You could publish it to the KW library, and then others can download and use your creations. Don't be scared, right? We're sharing. If you have something that you like or you're not sure, go talk to your PC coach, talk to your market tech trainer. See, hey, do you think others would find value in having this? So that's important. All right, so let's go here and let's look at the edit for the Facebook one. All right, so I don't have my Twilio account connected, so I'll keep seeing these messages in my platform until I connect something. So this is breaking down what it was, right? And you see that this contact first name is here. That's called a merge field. That's what you see underneath this colon F over here. So that means when I connect somebody to this, it's automatically going to pull their name in here. So if something goes out, or if I need to make a phone call, or it's a text, it's going to invoke whatever that merge field item is identified that you said is supposed to be in here. Now, I do want to put in a couple of things when it comes to text. Your name is not here, and they might not know your phone number. So you might want to edit that to just say, hey, Hey, Joe. You might want to put your name in there because they're not going to know your number because this number is different than your standard cell phone number, right? Look through, be conscious of what you're sending. Don't just blindly start sending stuff out. Then there's a delay. Delay means what's going to happen next and how long is it going to take before that next step happens. And then after that delay is an email. Okay. So they're getting an email, which is prompting them to download their mobile real estate app. Download my mobile real estate app is another smart plan that's available for you in the system. So it's going to email them, okay, a notice, an email flyer with a landing page that's going to prompt them to download your specific mobile app. Now, I can't go into all of the elements of all the different things that are in there. You're going to have to go check out these different smart plans for yourselves and see all the ones that are there. There is a lot, as Samantha pointed out earlier. So taking the ones that KW built is the best place to start, because that'll get you going and comfortable. But if you go into the smart plan libraries and copy somebody else's, I do implore you to do your due diligence and be conscious of what's there, edit them so they represent you. Sometimes I had somebody bring it to my attention that this merge field wasn't there. So an agent actually went through and didn't know to use the merge fields, but we're trying to be nice and typed in bold, contact name goes here. And the agent was frustrated because the merge fields weren't active for this smart plan that was created by another agent. So be conscious that not everybody knows how to use everything, but they are also trying to help. So if this says contact name or agent name or email address, but it's not in these brackets and it might be in bold black text, pay attention to that because that merge field is not live. Okay, so those are the little things, the little nuances you have to be conscious of. That makes sense, right? Trust but verify. We talked about that with the birthdays yesterday. Now on the right-hand side, I see these other options. These are called widgets. And widgets are something that are in our command world that you will get comfortable with over time. There's specific set of instructions that are built for you to tell it to do something. So at the bottom of this one, it says end of smart plan. But if I wanted to add a step, maybe that step was make a call. You said I just clicked on make a call and it dropped it to the bottom of this smart plan that maybe I need to call and check in. This is me making, this is what this step is going to be. And I could say call, contact. So that's how you add a step. If I wanted to add them to another smart plan, that's what this is over here, add to smart plan. Then I could go through my library and then maybe, so this particular contact, I would then also want to add them to a biweekly neighborhood nurture. So you can start systematically thinking of process flows of what happens next. And that what happens next could also be triggering another event. Okay. Now I want to try to keep it simple, but I want to explain everything that's kind of built in here for you. At the top, after you've modified and created, you save your changes. At the top, there's this new element that came out that's called set a trigger event. And this is something that will continue to evolve quickly through KW Connect. Add a trigger, okay, is tag triggered. So forget what this actual campaign is for a moment. Ignore the content of this campaign. Let's pretend that this was somebody that I met in an open house. And this was my open house format. Or this was somebody that was a lead that came in through Facebook. And I added a tag to them, okay, Facebook lead or open house lead that you created and you tagged on their contact record. The second you add that tag, and I had armed this to recognize that, hey, this Facebook trigger is set to trigger this campaign. So if I have somebody new, I add that Facebook lead tag to their contact record. The moment that happens, this plan will automatically start. That's pretty cool, right? Now I will tell you in the future, there's going to be an additional automation built into this, right? So imagine a day, and this is being tested, that a Facebook lead comes in. It comes in from Facebook. Command recognizes it's coming from Facebook, and it automatically tags it for you that it's coming from Facebook, and then it automatically triggers. So you don't even have to add the tag. That's something that's coming very, very soon.
I have a question. So the emails will automatically be on your database from Facebook, the emails from the people from Facebook. Because sometimes it's not easy to get their emails. So is that how it works?
Yeah, so it depends. You're gonna have to capture that information. Sometimes you get emails from Facebook, sometimes you don't. Right. And that's what we're gonna talk more about that in campaigns when we do campaigns next week. But trust but verify, you all know what it's like to fill out a contact form. Sometimes you get accurate information, sometimes you don't. So that's not always factual that those email addresses are accurate. Typically, they're better to being accurate at this point. We're starting to run a little long, so I want to try to keep the questions to the very end so I cover everything at this point. Or throw it in chat. I see Jerry and a couple other people are doing a great job answering questions in there. So if you could steer them there for right now, I'll be sure that they all get answered and address them more at the end if I have to. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So that's trigger. That's really, really cool. And that's about a couple of weeks old at this particular point. Now, what we haven't done yet is add anybody to this campaign. Right? I'm actually just going to remove this trigger. Boop. And over here, I have this add. So I mentioned earlier, there's a couple places where you can add people to SmartPlans. And this is the first logical place where you can do it as you're creating it. So if I click add, I can either search by somebody's name or I can search by tag. Right? So I can filter out by tag and select the people that I want to add. Or I could search them directly by name for people that I wanted to add. Okay. And then I could select all. Now when I click select all, it's select all on this page. So if this list of people was 75, I would actually only be able to grab, it used to be 20, it might be 50 now, I have to check, of people that show up on this page. So then I would actually select them all and then toggle at the bottom to go to the next page to select all. You can add larger amounts from the contact database, which I will show you here in a minute. But from here, inside of SmartPlans, this is how this works. I'm going to click Add SmartPlan. Then I'm going to get this secondary notification. When do you want to start this SmartPlan? Do I want to start it right now? Maybe. Do I want to start on a specific date? Maybe. And recognizing that in this particular SmartPlan, there are people that you're supposed to call. Now, think about the quarterly call plan real quick. If I put everybody in my database on the quarterly call plan and I set them all to start now, what's going to happen on the second or third of every quarter? It's going to tell me I have to call every single person in my database. It's not going to happen, right? So this stagger will stagger out by day the amount of people it tells you to call each day. So you have to answer yourself, how many people am I willing to call each day if there's a lot of people in my database? Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 7, maybe it's 10. If you're new, you have more time to call people. If you're in production, you have less time. So you have to be real with yourself. Otherwise, we know what happens. Those task lists get overwhelming. Then we delete and we ignore, and things don't get done, right? We get overburdened with the tasks at hand. This is allowing you to control what you'll actually do. Ted, am I right? There you go. Sam, I saw a little head bob. You're getting what I'm saying, right? Look, I've got papers, I've got notes, I've got sticky, I've got Google tasks, I've got tasks everywhere. Okay? Tasks are overwhelming. So be honest with yourself. Don't set yourself up for 25 calls a day if you're not equipped to make 25 calls a day. Maybe make it 3, make it 5. Talk to your PC coach about what's a realistic expectation when you're launching some of these. Now, if I were to click confirm, nothing's going to happen in this case. It would also send up an alert to say, hey, there's a text message component to this. Now, you guys have to be aware there are spam walls. I'm not going to delve into that here today, okay? But you have to have the right to text somebody something. They're going to get an unsubscribe notification too. But if you're acquiring lists, that these aren't actual people that you met and you acquired a list from somewhere, please talk to your broker, your market center tech trainer, your TL, before you start targeting lists of people that you don't have relationships with. Not a broker. This is just me giving you some friendly advice that there are laws in place, and we've all been victim of those. We get spammed all the time. Don't be one of those people, right? Be the reason they want to answer the phone and respond to you. Don't spam people through email and text. You'll get complaints. They will file complaints. And there are people in the region that have been fined. I don't want you to be one of those people. I want you to be a little bit scared, but if you're smart and you're safe about what you're doing, you're not just blasting random people, right? Then you're going to be okay. All right, I'm going to come back out to the home page real quick, because what I want to show you is what happens if I want to create something from scratch. I don't want to use something that KW provided or another agent provided. So on the upper right-hand side, you actually have this create button. So if I hit create, and I do recommend that you go in and just play around with it a little bit, right? Test plan, I can spell, test plan. Okay, it's going to open up that window with nothing on the left-hand side except for my widgets, right? So let's think about something that we might do, right? So maybe I do an event, right? I do a movie night and create a task, and that task might be create a flyer. Now this could be a task message for me, something I have to do. Okay. What happened there? And then, hey, I need to create Evite for movie night. Right, that's for me. And then I'm going to send an email. Now that email is going to be me emailing people from my database. Oh, you might not be doing movie nights right now unless you're doing them through Zoom, but you kind of get the picture, right? Now, the cool thing is under email type, you can type a message, right, with a hyperlink. That may be the way you build it. Or you actually have designs. So designs connects to some of the things that are pre-created for you inside of KW. If I click create design, this other window pops up. It's like a whole nother world of things that are pre-created templates that are available for you, right? You can go through here, and I do recommend you go through here and check some of things out. We'll get a little bit more into this when we talk about designs next week, okay? But there's just listing, just sold, buy versus sell. There's 56 different templates in here. And if I type invite, there you go. There's an Evite. And it's going to allow me to edit this. And this is what this would look like. I can customize this. I can change out this picture. I can add different widgets. Okay, we talked about widgets. This video, I add in a video, so I just dragged it in. This is not iframing in an actual video at this particular point in time, right? I actually click on there and I click edit. What I'm going to do is actually put in a YouTube link for that video and then a thumbnail, which will look like a playable link. But when they click on that, it'll play it open up in YouTube. So it's not going to stay in the email at this point in time. But you can go in here, you see these merge fields are there based off of whatever you build out for that event and your contact information. Short class today. We'll go into more detail and designs later, but I wanted you to know that these things are there for you to leverage, right? Your market center tech trainers, your PC coaches will start helping you customize. You start doing thing events to build these things out. And then you'll just rename this for whatever this is. All right. And I didn't do all the nuances in it, but I think you guys get the point of where I was going there, right? So the difference between simple is SMS, right? Oh, I canceled what I was doing. So difference between simple, which is written text, right? And you got your WYSIWYGs, what you see is what you get. Bold, text, italics, links, hyperlinks, and designs is the ability to create something and implement that, right? Maybe it's a newsletter, maybe it's an evite, maybe it's about a new listing. You just have to go in and play around with those different things. And as we go along, you'll see those. And then after you do this, this might be a repetitive event, right? So you can repeat these after certain time periods, right? Calls, text messages, there's limitations so you don't spam people, but you can kind of repeat this over a period of time as well. If it's a call plan, if it's not an evite, that wouldn't work that way. But restarting the smart plans for follow-ups as you're converting people are important, especially if you're sending out personal or specific information like monthly neighborhood nurtures. They're already built to repeat for you. All right, so if I come back out, I'm not going to save this particular one, I'm just going to discard. So that's going to the library, that's bringing in smart plans, that's editing smart plans, it's creating smart plans from scratch, that's utilizing SMS text, that's just using merge fields, that's using predetermined designs that KW has available for you. And you start to see how much is actually here, right? I bet a lot of you didn't even realize all of these things were there yet. Let me show you a couple other things as we kind of speed down the path for the last 10 minutes here. I said I would show you how to bulk add more than that 20 or 50 people at a time. If I come to contacts, my home page, let that load real quick. Now I only have 11 people in this demo account, but if I had 500 and I wanted to add them, right? Or if I wanted to add 100, I probably wouldn't add 500 because you're brokerage, maybe I'll add 50. I could check them all. I get my bulk action, right? Then I can come down to add to smart plan. Choose from your smart plan list that you have that you want to add to them. Right? Maybe it's the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. Boom, done. Ask you the same questions. Do you want to start now? When do you want to start? And do you want to stagger? So that's how you bulk add tags. Now I'm going to jump into one of these contacts real quick, because we did little redhead girl yesterday. And remember that when we put in the address and pinned that address, it linked that address to where she lives, Winter Hill, which is a neighborhood in Falls Church. So you need to know a couple of things about neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are a connection for KW through our relationship with a company called Nextdoor. You guys heard of Nextdoor? Third-party platform. KW has zero control, zero, let me be clear, zero control over the neighborhood designs. They are designed and developed by the people that live in the actual neighborhoods. So that, yes, those names might not match specifically to what you think those neighborhoods are called. But they're not, it's not coming from the MLS. It's not looking at the legal subdivisions. Literally called by what the neighbor that created that neighborhood says that it's called, and verified by 5 others when they launched that neighborhood. So I want to be clear, that's where these boundary markers are coming from. They're from Nextdoor. They're not coming from tax records. They're not coming from local government, and we cannot redraw them. Just a disclaimer, okay? Now, with that and recognizing that they're not all perfect, it suggests other neighborhoods around the neighborhood that they're in, because the type of house that they're in might bleed over in the other neighborhoods, right? My neighborhood is actually split in 2, so I have to add a couple others. I'll kind of share something else with you too. We talk a lot about coming from contribution, and sending people updates of activity in the neighborhoods they live in is incredible value. Now, I set people up on my bi-weekly, right? Our market is so hot right now. I like them to know twice a month what's going on versus monthly, but that's your choice. Secondly, when you actually have a relationship with someone, you learn things. You know where they live, maybe, hopefully. So you put their address in and you can connect this. Now, this is not solely driven by, I have to have an address to connect. It makes that initial connection easier, okay? But maybe I know that this particular client, okay, grew up in Gilbert, Arizona. I happen to know about Vista Lakes. Of course, it's not connecting for me. Making a liar out of me. But I'll go with Lake of Red Rock. Maybe I know that they grew up in Lake of Red Rock. I can also add that additional neighborhood. The reason I'm telling you this is because if they're like me, and most people are in this capacity, they like to keep up to date on what's going on where they grew up. So if you're sending things of contribution and value, imagine you sending somebody information. This is all in one email, giving them up-to-date information of the neighborhoods that they currently live in, okay, and the neighborhoods from where they grew up. I grew up in a neighborhood in Jacobtown, Pennsylvania, right? So if anybody's ever seen the TV show The Goldbergs, that's my hometown. I know all those people. That's a separate story. Okay, those are real people you hear about on that show. I can update that because I keep up to speed of what's going on in my hometown. You can add these items. Now, imagine your conversation, your relationship with these people continue to evolve. And now you know that little redhead girl and Charlie Brown, they want to retire to the Florida Keys. Well, I don't know a specific key because they're neighborhood driven, right? They're not city driven, but you get my point. It's not city driven, it's neighborhood driven. But now you're sending something to somebody that gives them up-to-date information about where they grew up. You're sending them up-to-date information of where they currently live, and you're sending them information of where they may want to retire. How many realtors do you think are actually going to that amount of detail for people? I imagine very few, unless they've been to my class, because I tell this story a lot. Right? That's real value. That's coming from contribution. That's cool, right? Thumbs up. You guys like that? Awesome. It's kind of like a pseudo smile there, Sam. I'm not sure if I was buying that. There you go. It's better. All right. Now let's say, what does this look like if I were to send this to somebody? Well, that's what this little preview button is here. Click on preview. And this is what they would receive. They would receive an email with a link, and it'll open up and it'll look like they're on your website. The neighborhoods are listed right here. You can have multiple neighborhoods. They have the ability to add other neighborhoods, which is great. So if they start adding neighborhoods, it triggers a conversation for you. Maybe they're looking to move. Right? Why are they looking at other neighborhoods? That'll tie back to your contact record. You'll know it. Okay. They can look at it by map. They can look at by the cities that are showing up here, right? That are for sale. So that all load on their screen. And they'll get all this twice a month. I mean, look how slick and how cool this is. Set yourself up on one of these and check it out. All right. A lot of cool elements in here. Average price of homes, school rankings, things that are taboo that we're not allowed to talk about, but we're pulling that information in from third-party resources, right? What is a mortgage payment? Like this plugs into KW Mortgage so they can get mortgage estimates or get pre-approved, right? They can get an insurance quote. There's value in that. Maybe they need the refi right now, right? And you could be the source of that information for them. They can add commute time, right? Literally the commute time will tell them how long of a drive it is from point A to point B. It's not tied into ways, so there's some variance there. But they can actually put in where they work, and it'll tell you how far this property is from where they work. And then they could even schedule a tour of this property directly with you, right? Doesn't matter if you have the listing or not, you're their connection. So they'll request a listing through you to go look at a property right here online. You'll get a notification. And they'll ask them, would you like to do this in person or online? And would you like to use Zoom or FaceTime, right? Ask them those questions. Okay, so let me come back to the home screen. One thing we haven't done yet for little redhead girl here, even though I've explained this, we have not actually added her to the smart plan where she'll receive this information. We've set it up for her. We set it up on our own library. We connected the neighborhoods for her. She's not receiving it yet because we have to add her to the smart plan. So there's two places from the contact record where I can click the three dots and click add to smart plan. Or actually on the right-hand side where it says smart plans, I can click smart plan, add to smart plan, right? Select biweekly neighborhood nurture, and I can start now or I can start on a specific date, your choice, right? There's no reason to stagger here because it's an individual person and there's no calls. You'll see it on the right-hand side, they've been added. If I look at their timeline, we'll see that because I said start today, that email went out instantly, that they got that email of that neighborhood nurture that they are now going to get from me twice a month. So look at that. It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm sensitive to your time. I'm not going to pull the plug. I did say that I would stick online for Q&A, but that is all about smart plans. So thank you for joining me today. Jerry, I saw you working feverishly to keep up with the Q&A, and I thank you. Anything specifically that I need to answer in more detail from the questions queue, or that anybody hasn't asked yet, maybe raise a hand and we can get to you.
Hey, can you add your email contact information in the chat, please?
My email information? I will put it out there, David Donaldson. But here's what I'm going to ask of you. Oh, I spelled my own name wrong. Anybody's more than welcome to email me, but understand this. I oversee 4,000 people in the region, and it's very hard for me to respond to emails. So what I do ask, if you feel the need to email me, they'll ask that you reach out to your Market Center Tech Trainer first. Is that fair? Thanks.
Yep.
And those of you that have emailed me in response, you know that I will get back to you. It's not always timely because I'm usually on calls all day, but I will do my best. All right, I see across the top, I see Christina Inglis.
Hi. Yeah, I have two questions.
Sure.
When you go to the preview and you see that nice setup, you know, with the gray bar and the list of the homes and the neighborhoods and the map, how come I just set up a smart plan and sent it to myself? So originally I had thought that all of the people were getting exactly what I saw in the preview, but when I just set one up to myself and I clicked on the email, it doesn't look as nice like that. What am I doing wrong? Because right now, when I get it in my email, the smart plan, that the monthly nurture, neighborhood nurture, it's it just doesn't look as nice, and like the pictures of the homes are in little circles. You can't see them all spread out like this. So maybe I set it up wrong.
There's nothing else to set up. It goes on automatically.
Okay, so it doesn't look like
honestly,
that.
I'd have to see it.
Okay.
So we could follow up on that.
Yeah, could we? Because I'd really like it to look, this looks so much better than what I got in my email.
And they may have made, now remember, this is a preview that's built into the platform. They may tweak a little bit, but from what I've seen, they look fairly the same, unless they've made some changes that I'm not aware of, which certainly happens. But we could certainly take a look at that.
Okay, and the second thing I have is I have a lot of contacts that are not in like Virginia or in my neighborhood. So for example, when I try to set up a neighborhood nurture and from with contacts in Boston, how do you find the neighborhoods? Is there an easier way to find the neighborhoods if you don't know the names of the neighborhoods? Like I would type in Boston, Mass, and nothing would come up. Yeah,
it's hard. You'd actually have to start if you knew the neighborhoods like Brockton or Sandwich, right? You can look at the different, you gotta be impressed that I can pull out Sandwich, okay? You look at the different neighborhoods, or you can zoom in on the map. When you zoom in, you can scroll in anywhere, zoom in to the micro level, and then pick the neighborhoods from the map.
Oh, okay. Zoom in.
Yeah, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of neighborhoods that the search filter isn't as clean as I would like to be to search, but you actually do need to know the neighborhoods, which could be challenging.
Right. But if you can zoom in, you can just type in Boston, and then you're saying if I zoom in, the neighborhoods start to populate.
The closer you get, the more of the neighborhoods you'll see.
Okay, no worries. That's fine. Great. Thank you.
I see MC164 with their hand raised and no picture. I gotta see a face. Goes for you too, Veronica. I'll trade you a question for a smiling face.
I don't know how to do it.
All right, that's all right. Glad to ask your question. Go ahead.
In fact, I've disappeared now. Okay, I had a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
When you were setting up everybody on Twilio to send out a text, what if they had unsubscribed to your emails? Would that automatically unsubscribe them to text?
No.
Okay.
Those are two different platforms. And if they unsubscribed accidentally, like the text, they could click start, which would kick it back off again. Okay, and then when I'm setting up in the smart plans, the automatic emails, how do I know if those merge fields work or not? You said that they have the brackets around them. Yeah, they'll be bracketed in blue. If they're anything other than that, they're capital, they're bold, they're black. then that was somebody creating a placeholder, but they're not actually merge fields.
Okay, and then when I'm doing these smart plans with emails, can I tell if they've opened them?
So in reports through KW, you can actually see unsubscribed and opened email results. Let me go in here. But what is not available to you under the reports, so I'm just doing this quickly under emails and reports. Okay, I will see open and replied, undelivered, unsubscribed, or marked as spam, but I won't see the list. I'll see numbers, but I won't see the list.
So I won't know what email they opened.
Correct.
Okay.
However, on their timeline and their actual contact record, you will see it there.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dave, I have a quick question for
and
you.
Hey, Ronnie, hold on. I got hands raised. I'm trying to go in order, okay?
Okay.
Veronica, you were next. Your microphone is off, Veronica.
Sorry about that.
Right, you're good.
So on my database, right, some of my contact they already have a monthly alert set up, right?
Okay.
Now you give the option before that if you go to contacts, we can do a bulk email, and send directly to everybody. So my question is, to the ones that are already set up as monthly later, so what will happen? They are going to receive twice?
No, they'll only be on it once.
Okay, so they don't start at that time. So they're, because they give the option, do you want to start now? So if I start now, but let's say 2 days ago, some of them they already received, they are going to receive back again a second, or they are
if they're on a smart plan, it should not fire a second. It should not fire. No, if you made a change to the smart plan, right?
No change, like you give it the option.
It's the exact same smart plan, it won't add them twice.
Great, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Next question, Veronica. So that was Ronnie. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, real quick. So I would like to create a smart plan, and I know we're short on time, and I'd like you to just run through it on your screen how you would do it. My neighbor would like to know how the neighborhood is doing, meaning sales, market fluctuations, that kind of information. Can I create a smart plan to send him that kind of information every 2 weeks, every once a month kind of thing?
You're going to send them that bi-weekly neighborhood nurture that we just walked through.
Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. Okay, that's what it's called.
Yep,
okay.
That's the one. Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. Yep.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Hey, not a problem. Good question.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, I don't have the option to raise my hand.
Go ahead. You're good.
I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. I'm sorry. So do you recommend when you do the neighborhood information, do you recommend to stick with that specific neighborhood, or maybe extend to the next community?
Yeah, so if you know the area, right, it may, like I said, my neighborhood is split. It's one neighborhood, but next door neighbor has it split. So I have to add both. So if you know well enough that the surrounding neighborhoods are very similar and make a model that they would want to be updated on that, then by all means, add those additional neighborhoods. If it's, if you're going from one neighborhood that's, 800,000 plus and the next connecting neighbor are townhouses, you might not want to connect those because there's maybe not relevance there. That's just you making the decision that, is this information valuable to them?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. How we doing? I don't see any more hands raised. Anybody got anything else? We're around a couple minutes long, but we're doing okay. 40 of you still on the call, just waiting to see who asked the next question that you might just not want to miss out on, right? That's why everybody's sticking around. Jerry, was there anything that needed more detail in the Q&A? I see you rock and roll with all that.
No, I think we hit everything. And some of the stuff you kind of went over as it was being asked. So I didn't see any questions that weren't answered.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon, right? We get those questions and they're usually leading to where we're going. America, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Sorry, how did you get the neighborhood maps again? How did you get to that?
Sure. So when you're on a contact, okay?
Yeah.
Two things happen. When you add a new contact, if you added them with an address,
Yeah.
it will automatically pin them to that neighborhood.
Okay.
If they don't have an address or they haven't connected a neighborhood yet, you can click add neighborhood as you're seeing here on the screen. Okay. And either find by NAP. And this isn't connecting because I made up a bogus email address. I was having fun with Charles Schultz, and I know that they were Pine Tree Corner, in case you're wondering, is actually the name of the street or the town where Peanuts takes place. This is just me being a little creative here and wonky. That's why it's not actually correcting to an address. But I could actually click on the map here, zoom into a particular area.
Okay.
See, I just typed in city, and I can zoom in on that city. And that Christina Inglis was asking us earlier, but I can zoom in, and then we'll see the neighborhoods start to pop up. Now, do take notice that depending on where they are, there are some rural areas that don't have neighborhoods, and there's nothing we can do about that right now. Right, that happens. And if you guys are in southern parts of Virginia or certain areas of West Virginia, as we grow, you'll see that there are neighborhoods. Now, the only way to fix that is to have contacts in a particular neighborhood and have them create a next door profile. You can't create it because you don't live there. So it has to verify their address.
Okay.
All right, Kathy Lawson. You're up next.
Okay, neighborhood.
I'm not hearing you, Kathy. I don't know if your mic is. I'm not. Your mic doesn't seem to be turned off, but maybe the volume on your mic is turned all the way down on your PC. Maybe type a question in the chat. We're not hearing you, Kath. Sorry. Jolene, what can I do for you?
So David, right now, it's very limited, like how many touches and how many days can we create in a smart plan. Is there gonna be like an update that we will be able to like, you know, have a much longer days in the smart plan?
Yeah, that's on the roadmap to kind of expand that time period right now. It's, you know, there's 30 days and 90-day limitations on some of the things. They're working on building that out.
Yeah, and one more thing. I'm not sure if it's work in progress about Twilio, if there's gonna be like a Twilio that will be good for team level. Because right now
Yes, that's a great question. So for those of you that are on Teams, Twilio is an agent-to-agent connection. There is no team account right now. So every agent has to have their own number for this to work. They are having conversations about what it would look like for a team package. Right now, what I've talked to Rainmakers about are that if they want their associates, as they should, to have an account, they refund them the difference. You know, like I said, it's relatively inexpensive, but you guys have a large database, so that could be different. But that each agent has to have their own number. I don't have an ETA on when that would be live.
Okay, yeah, because as of the moment, what I did is to set up like each and every agents on the team,
Yes,
like their own Twilio account. So
that's the only way it can work right now.
Thing that
Hey, David, Kathy put her question in the chat box.
My
So-
option to copy a smart plan might be missing. Once you're in the library, if you click download, it should automatically bring it into your database, and it should say you're copying it as my whatever. If that's not downloading, I have never even seen that not work. The only other question I might actually have for you is, are you on Apple, and are you in any browser other than Chrome? Would be the first place that I would go. Make sure that you're working in Chrome. If you are in Chrome and you still cannot copy, I would ask that you get in contact with your Market Center tech trainer for your Market Center. Sorry that is happening to you. All right, 11:15, we ran long. I think we got everything covered. I don't see any more hands raised. And tomorrow,
I'm sorry, one more question. When you send the information on the neighborhood, is it also the crime included, or is just real estate related?
no, there's no crime. We're not touching crime.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yes, ma'am. No, not going there. All right. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, last day of the week, we're going to take a look into opportunities, your digital whiteboard. I will have this session downloaded, uploaded, recorded to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page sometime later today. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, thanks for running chat.
I got you.
Thank you, Jerry.
See you Friday.
See you Friday.